This is Chef Michelle of Top Chef Season 21, and you're listening to the Black Smoke Barbecue Podcast.
Welcome to Black Smoke Barbecue. We are a collaborative group that focuses on different aspects of barbecue from pitmasters from all across North America. Barbecue is a culture, and we discuss topics, ideas, and the methods of it on the Black Smoke Barbecue Podcast. Our mission is to spotlight those lesser-known content creators in backyard barbecue, catering, food truck operations, as well as the African-American experience in modern-day barbecue. Sit back, relax, listen, and enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live, and you are listening to the Black Smoke Barbecue Podcast. I am your host, Brandon from BKC Cooks. We got a bunch of the fellas here on the panel today, and we have a very special guest, but we're going to go around the horn and see who we have here, what everybody's been up to. We're going to start with our fearless leader, Geoff from Outdoors with Geoff. Geoff, where are you? What are you doing? Why aren't you cooking? Give us all the details, brother.
Hey, man, I'm in Richmond, Virginia right now for work, man, but didn't go home to Vegas this weekend. Had a little run out to the Bahamas. So good little cruise, man, and had some good eating and didn't cook a thing. Had a bunch of folks cooking and had some good libations. Had a good time. So, doing well, man. Doing well. How you doing today, brother?
I was doing great till you rubbed all that in my face, but, you know, we're going to get over it,
Hold on now, man. Now, you're the one with the private jet. Every time I talk to you, you're up in the air somewhere. Got 2 million frequent flyer miles, so I don't want to hear anything, bro.
But I wasn't doing anything this weekend like you, so therefore, we're gonna move on, man. You know. Stop hating on my lifestyle.
I ain't mad at you, bro.
And next up, we got Charlie from Charlie Maverick Barbecue. Charlie, what's good, brother?
What's good, man? I'm blessed over here. How you doing?
Man, I'm fantastic, brother. I'm fantastic. What you been cooking, man? You also talk about rubbing stuff in people's faces. You was killing us with that tomahawk, man. You know, it was not fair.
Chop, chop. Yep. And I had to do it, man. So my beautiful wife said, hey, let's do surf and turf. And, you know, I follow instructions. So I'm going to look for a tomahawk, man.
Smart man. Smart man.
Yes, sir. That's all I got to do. Happy wife, happy life. Hey, and that was a good tomahawk. So I got to rub it in your face again. Sorry.
That's all right. No problem, brother. It looked great, man.
Thank you, sir.
Any other cooks going on?
Nah, man. You know, just been busy doing stuff. So I am waiting for this weekend to do something. Something's in the works, but I don't want to give it away yet, just in case I change my mind. But stay tuned.
All right.
I'll say that.
G14 classified. We get it.
That's right.
We get it. And next up, we have our resident poet, T from T-Dub Barbecue. T, what's good, bro?
Man, nothing much. What's happening with you?
Nothing, man. Look, I seen you had some heat going on over there a couple days ago, man. Tell us what you had rocking, bro.
I did that brisket, man. It turned out pretty good. I tell you, I did some fighting against that wind. It was one of those up and down days, but she pulled on through. She was nice and tender, had a nice smoke ring, very flavorful. Pretty proud of my production that day.
Hey, I was proud of you too. That thing was picture perfect, man. That's what I said. You had that heat, bro, because that brisket, I mean, man, it was laid down like that joker was. Yeah, that brisket looked phenomenal, man. Looked phenomenal. What else you got coming behind that, bro?
I'm looking to do some sort of seafood next. Not really sure. I really want to get my hands on a red snapper. And my wife has been talking about some things with some crab legs, but we'll see.
I'm looking forward to it, man. And last but not least, we have the Dog Father, Alton from the Dog Father Barbecue. Al, what's good, man?
What up, though?
Nothing, man. I seen you doing some overnight stuff here that you just posted today, bro. What is that over
here? I'm over here in the basement with my man T, because we didn't get no tomahawk and we didn't get to go to the Bahamas. So
hey, I'm here with you, man. I understand.
Hey, it is what it is. But no, man, we fired up that old Spider Grills Huntsman and let him stretch his legs overnight there with an overnight brisket cook. One of those, trying to see if that grill is a set it and forget it. People try to do this whole set it and forget it.
Mm-hmm.
You know me, you know I'm hands-on. I like to tinker with the fire and things of that nature. So it was straight painful to set up that grill and walk away at 8:30 at night and didn't get to walk out there and touch it and look at it or nothing till 7:30 in the morning. But we pulled through, man. We pulled through. It was a good brisket.
Well, good. I'm glad you made it through, man. And if folks want to see the results of that, y'all can check out the Dogfather's YouTube channel. Full video is up there now. I saw it this morning, and trust me, you will enjoy it. But again, y'all, yes, sir. You are listening to and watching the Black Smoke Barbecue podcast. And barbecue is not just the code we live by, it's the culture we embody. And by virtue of that, we have a very special guest with us today, friend of the podcast, rising star in not just the barbecue world, but in the food world as a whole. This young lady has accolades coming out of her ears. She's associated with some major names. I'm talking names like Netflix, James Beard Foundation, Food Network, and she is formerly the executive chef of Gatlin's Barbecue down in Houston. And if that doesn't mean anything to you, you're just not tuned in. We want to welcome Chef Michelle Wallace to the podcast.
Hi,
Michelle.
guys.
Hey, how are you?
Hey.
I'm good. That is
Welcome.
an incredible intro. Thank you so much.
Oh, incredible accolade. I didn't make anything up. I promise it's all true if you didn't know about it.
I'll do some fact checks. No, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
We're glad you made time. We truly appreciate it. It's been a while since we saw each other. It was the first part of this year down in Houston, and a couple things have happened since the last time we saw you.
A few things, yeah. We were at my sister's barbecue event, Erica Blair. If you don't know her, she's phenomenal. But she had her first class of that, and it was such a pleasure to meet you guys. So yeah.
Oh yeah, we had a good time, and we got to enjoy some of your delicious creations. I know Alton is still in his feelings about the biscuits that you laid on us, and everything you made was phenomenal. And everyone there who had the pleasure to enjoy your cooking, everyone was floored. I can tell you that. Everyone was in awe. Yeah, it's absolutely true. And we did have a really good time there at Erica's, and it was a great class, great experience. So I spoke on some of the things you've accomplished, but here lately, you've been all over the place. And you're currently on Top Shelf. I believe it's season 21, is it?
Season 21, you got it.
Nice. So what's that experience been like?
Top Chef. It has been literally everything, all the feels, right? It's challenging. It's difficult. It sometimes makes you unsure of yourself, and then sometimes it makes you incredibly sure of yourself. It's a lot of fun. It is just really an experience of a lifetime. And I'm so glad that, one, that I was selected to do it, two, that I said yes to do it, and, that I was able to, accomplish what I was able to accomplish in the competition. If you guys haven't seen it, I don't know if I should spoiler alert this, but I am not going to be the winner. But I do feel like I won a lot with that process. I did make it very far, top 5, and then top 6 because the girl came back. So I don't even know how to do that.
Right.
I'm hanging on to that top 5 for like 10 seconds.
Yes.
That's awesome.
But yeah, that experience was incredible.
Well, you didn't just happen to get there. How did you get started in food? How did all of this come about?
Oh my gosh. So becoming a chef and cooking in this industry is my second career. I have a degree from Texas Southern University here in Houston in healthcare administration. I was working in that industry for a very short while. It did not take me a long time to figure out it's not what I wanted to do. I wasn't necessarily, not that I was sad or anything, but it just wasn't fulfilling enough for me. In the interim, I had waited tables for years. I really enjoyed the restaurant scene and the atmosphere. Cooking had become such a passion of mine just outside of work while working in the healthcare industry. And I really just enjoyed learning food and technique Coming from St. Louis to Houston, it was such just a shock to see, not a shock, but yeah, a shock to see all the different, cultures that we have here in the city, and to experience that food and to see just what I've been missing growing up. And I'm not saying that to say I had a bad childhood, but we just didn't go out to eat. That's just wasn't our norm. And so what we ate is what mom cooked or anybody else in the family. And so it was that really kind of sparked my interest. And then the technique came and was like, okay, if I do this and I do that, I kind of was self-taught, decided to go to culinary school some years later, actually in 2009. And I studied in China for like a month. And it was off to the races after that. Once I kind of got back from that, finished culinary school, I felt like I was behind, right? Like, here I am in my 30s. I got a mortgage. Now I got a line cook for $9 an hour trying to get experience, right? So I just was rushing, trying to get as much information. I was literally a sponge, just learning from any and everyone, trying to find my voice, and all of that led me to Gatlin's Barbecue. So several years in of that trek, which was actually really pretty short. The Gatlin family hired me as an executive chef, and I was like, well, I just kind of really started at this. But it ended up being such a great move for everybody involved. And that's kind of how my chefing career turned into barbecue, and then kind of just took off from there.
Hey, Michelle, this is Alton, Dogfather's Barbecue here. And, I want to get on that a little bit. I want you to expand a little bit on your tutelage at Gatlin Barbecue.
Yeah.
What was that like? I mean, I'm sure it was phenomenal, but what was that like? And how was the day-to-day workings? And I'm just curious, what was every day like working at such a prestigious place like that?
I think it helped. I knew who Greg was, but I didn't understand the cult following, the prestige that the name carried. I didn't get that. Coming from St. Louis, my dad barbecued often. I very rarely ate barbecue out. So it wasn't a thing that I kind of necessarily revered with such high regard. And then I learned how intense the barbecue world is, right? It's extremely intense, extremely respectable. It's so large. So I think it helped not having that, because I came in, just okay, I just want to learn. I want to learn this. I want to learn smoking. I want to learn, all the things, from trimming meat to smoking meat and all that. I came in and everyone was hesitant. Here I am, a female. Everybody want to carry a case of brisket for me. I'm like, no, I got it. It's cool. Cases are, y'all know how much a case of brisket weigh. And ultimately, I had to do the work to gain the trust, right? This is their business. This is their family business. And I had to do the work to gain the trust. They knew that I could handle all the sides and do all of that. And I kind of got stuck on that initially to kind of warm them up to me. And then I would stay at work. Oh my gosh. I would literally get to work, from the time we're dropping on meats to the time we're starting to piss to the time we're shutting the doors. I would literally stay at work all day, to get it. And I think putting in that work, getting my hands dirty, learning literally every aspect of what needs to happen. I think that I gained their respect, and then I was good. I had an eye, I had, ideas, I had, I was talented. And so, it just kind of worked. So it was a tough transition a little bit, but, we made it through.
So as you were working there and learning all the different proteins and the processes and, the different cookers and this and the other, what was your most difficult protein to cook? What was that biggest challenge for you?
It took me a little bit to get the feel for the brisket. So we don't really kind of temp out things at that restaurant. We weren't temping everything. You don't have time to. And so he was like, you have to develop your hands. It is going to be the most important thing, one of the most important things. And so he spoke a lot about how the proteins break down, what you look for, how they should feel, visually, what can you see? I can look at a brisket now and tell you if it's done or not. but that took time to kind of nurture and develop. And so that was probably the most difficult protein, was getting those briskets right. I mean, I messed up several briskets.
That's part of the process, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep. I tell people all the time, you have to fail your way to success. If you don't make an error, you never will get to the point of success. And so, you know, I had to tell myself that over and over again, like, oh, I failed again, gotta try. And they looked at me like, now watch out now, like, look at food costs. But they were gracious enough. They absolutely gave me enough grace when needed. They gave me a hard time when needed. And, you know, I got those briskets down after several hundreds of briskets in 6 years of smoking. I got it down.
Good deal. Michelle, this is Geoff from Outdoors with Geoff. And I noticed you posted a picture of your dad the other day on the grill.
Yeah.
And wanted to ask you about that. Do you remember your first cook on the grill, and was that with your family, or did you know, what was that like, and how old were you during that process?
I think my first solo grill mission came in college. I can't specifically remember what was put on a grill, probably chicken because it was cheap, and you know how it is, you ain't got no money in college. And I do what I remember more importantly, and this is such a great question. I'm so happy that you asked that. I call my dad. I'm like, you know, Dad, I bought this little grill, and you know, they have those little cheap grills sometimes in the apartment complex, but it was gross looking. I saved my money for this grill. And he's like talking me through it. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. And this was before like you were able to kind of video call, right, on a cell phone. So, you know, it really was him talking me through how I need to build the briquettes and to do all the things. And so, yeah, it definitely came in college. I was probably somewhere around that 18, 19, 20-year-old. Yeah, probably second year of college or so.
You had a point where you decided, you know, food was really something that you were passionate about, and you made the change in healthcare, and then decided to go full course in the food, into the food world. And that's something, you know, that's a major decision for a lot of folks, you know, especially when you went to college and things of that nature. Yeah. And a lot of folks have that same thought process of, hey, this is something I need to make a change on. What was that decision like for you?
It took a little bit of conversation. I think a lot of times, you know, we as young adults, if we're having these parents who are really pushing us to go to college, right? A lot of those decisions are like, I just want to make my parents happy, right? Or, you know, it's been kind of ingrained in you that this is the pathway you do it, and you find a great job. And as long as they're giving you, you know, your 14 days of vacation and some health insurance, like you've made it. At least that's where, you know, I came from. And I feel like that was the era of my parents. It was just find a good job, make sure you got vacation, and, you know, boom, now you have a great life. I didn't come from a lot of risk takers in that sense. That was the risk. You know what I mean? Working with a diverse group of people, that was a risk for them, you know? And so part of me was letting that go. And so for me in that conversation, it was just like, okay, but I went to school for this. Is that wasted time? You know, do I really want to do this? Can I be successful? And so the thing was just kind of letting that go. And I really attribute that moving away from home and really kind of finding my own voice, living away from my parents and becoming really a full adult, right? And making my own decisions. You know, that went into that final decision. It was tough, but I was like, yeah, I can do this. Like, okay, I have all the tools.
Hey, Michelle, this is T. Coming from St. Louis to Houston, what was the biggest culture shock as far as the food scene? I know it's a huge difference in barbecue, but what was one thing that kind of stuck out for you when you moved there to Houston?
Part of it was within our own culture. Like we grew up with, you know, frying the chicken and the collard greens, and we had like this really simplistic yet flavorful rotation of foods in my mom's repertoire, right? Or my family's repertoire. And so to come down here and to see within the Black culture, all the things, meeting all the people in college, like, you know, I'm meeting people from New Orleans and meeting people from the Caribbean and meeting African people in college. And it all still just be this Black experience, right? And that was shocking. I went to a predominantly white high school. So, you know, a lot of my time was spent split, going home to my Black family, spending time with a lot of predominantly white children at my school. And so to go to Texas Southern, it was just so Black, and it was so beautiful, and it was so diverse within that. And then when you exit that community, all the things like such a strong Asian community down here of all kinds, from Thai to Filipino to Chinese, all of it. You have Indian, you have Pakistani, like it's so much food, and it's approachable. And I hadn't learned any of that. And so that was very shocking and appealing. And I was just looped in. And one of the coolest things was my dad was just such a cool dad, and he was in the service. And so he was able to kind of travel the world a little bit, right? And so he was the risk taker in our family when you talk about food. And so he had always been like an outlet. So when I'd be like, Dad, I tried these tostadas, he's like, you know, he was so excited and cool and understood kind of learning all of the cultural things that, you know, I kind of experienced.
Oh man, that's good to hear. That's one of the things that I went to HBCU myself, and I went to predominantly white high school, and just staying in South Carolina, but going to HBCU is so eye opening to me. And like you said, just people from different areas, and you think, you know, but when you actually go to school with these people, you learn about the different food tastes they have, the different ways they do things. What we think is traditional here, meeting somebody from somewhere else is like, no, we actually do it like this. So it sounds good to me.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Hey, Michelle, I want to back up here a little bit, and I want to go back to, as I understand it, the moment that kind of, you know, got you to where you pivoted to get into culinary, you know, the culinary travels. And as I understand it, you had a cousin that was playing for the Texans that employed you to come out and feed him and his teammates. And so I want to talk about that a little bit, you know, and what was that like, you know, feeding? I mean, football players can eat. Okay. So what was that like feeding them? And I mean, was it stressful for you? And, you know, what kind of things did you make? And, you know, how was that? What was that process like?
Yeah, so I definitely attribute that being able to, like, literally, like, me cooking for my cousin was just like, you know, we didn't have any other family here. It was me, my twin sister, and it was here. And that was the family that was here at the time. And so speaking to my aunt and all that, she was like, hey, y'all, can you make sure you take care? You know, he didn't have, you know, he was not married. And, you know, he's a single man. It's just, can you make sure he's eating and, you know, things are good. And so it was family. It was like cooking for my brother. We grew up together. And so he, you know, athletes are very mindful of their diet, whether they're needing to gain weight or needing to lose weight, they eat very particular. And so depending on who I was cooking for, it was either a lot of protein, a lot of veg, or if they needed to bulk up with throwing in some carbohydrates. And so I've always thrown in some untraditional flavors and ingredients. And so the toughest part was getting them to be like, oh, this avocado, whatever I promise you, it's going to be delicious. Or these Asian flavors are going to be great. I promise you. So it was kind of getting them out of just chicken breast and broccoli, you know what I mean? Or something very basic. So the toughest part of that is getting them to trust me that I'm going to serve them something good, regardless if they recognize it or not. So, but it was fun. They, you know, that didn't last very long. I don't like the meal prep thing and the cooking of the same thing. I want to be able to use butter. I want to be able to use some beef tallow. I want to, you know what I mean? I want to cook.
I hear that. But hey, you know, speaking of athletes, you're mentioning here, as I understand it, you're a former athlete. You used to get down with some softball, was it?
Yeah, I played softball, which is crazy. Like, check this story. This story is crazy. My man was like, when I told him his story, he's like, what? So I decided that Texas Southern would be my school. And, you know, after like the first semester, my parents was like, you might have to come home. We can't afford it. I'm like, wait, I don't want to go home. So I'm talking to my sister and I'm like, man, let me go see. I played basketball in high school, ran track in high school. And I'm like, I'm athletic. I love sports. And I'm like, let me just go try out. They were having tryouts. I saw this thing. So I go try out for basketball. Decided that basketball wasn't for me. And so they were like, oh, I saw this thing for softball. And I was like, let me just go check it out. And so I tried out and they needed to add that softball to be in compliance with the Title IX, right? And so they were going to have the team or not. And so this very first team was just like taking any and everybody. I'm like, well, listen, I'm out here. I know I'm athletic. So I made the team and got some money. So that was all I needed. The coach stuck me on first base because they were like, this is a position that, we can kind of that least amount of, it was the easiest position for me to kind of get into. And I ended up doing a really good job over the years. As a matter of fact, in my 4th year, we won the SWAC championship. So there you go.
Nice. So are you still watching are you still watching softball?
No. I really kind of stopped on the softball thing after I graduated. I respect it. They work hard. But it unfortunately served a purpose.
I hear you.
So, Michelle, right now we're going to go to a break real quick, pay a few bills. And when we come back, we're going to talk about Between Sandwich Company.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. So y'all stay tuned. Check out these ads and get these great products.
A revolutionary new grill brush is here, designed to eliminate the dangers associated with traditional wire bristle brushes. Meet the Boyer brush, which will make cleaning fast, easy, and safe. The rust-proof stainless steel spring bristles are designed to withstand failure and last for many years. The Boyer brush is crafted with a heavy-duty, all-metal design that is dishwasher safe. Cleaning your grill with the Boyer brush while hot will provide effective cleaning without bristle loss danger. With a long handle for two-handed pressure that provides rapid cleaning that's easy and safe, it's time to say goodbye to the dangers of traditional grill brushes and hello to the last grill brush you will ever buy. Get yours now at BoyerBrush.com.
We like you to meet Sweet Charlene, the barbecue seasoning created from family bonds that is low in sodium but high in flavor. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner or a seasoned pitmaster. Level up your barbecue game with this dry rub that has amazing taste and great color. Go to EddieWrightBarbecue.com right now and order your choice between the 6-ounce shaker bottle, the 16-ounce bag, or my favorite, the 32-ounce bag, and start rubbing your beef, pork, and poultry the right way.
And we're back. So, Michelle, after you did all of these culinary adventures, you struck out on your own and started the Between Sandwich Company. Tell us what spurred you to do that, and what's Between Sandwich Company all about?
So Between Sandwich Company is an idea that I actually had prior to going to Gatlin's Barbecue. I've always had a love for just sandwiches, right? I just think it's such a beautiful dish. Everybody always has like a great sandwich story. It's so funny when I'm like, oh, I do sandwich. They're like, oh, let me tell you about this sandwich. But that's exactly why I started it. And so it is, right now we exist as a pop-up concept, mainly in farmers markets right around the city here in Houston. And it's just creative ideas for sandwiches. I incorporate smoked meats and smoked items. And we serve pretty much every Sunday or every other Sunday at farmers markets, just some really cool creations.
What do you think has been your most popular item since you've been doing that?
Ooh, probably the fried catfish with the smoked oyster mayo. I also do a shrimp biscuit that everyone loves. And I do this porchetta. I know this might be out there, but I love chitlins. I grew up eating it, right? But I do this porchetta. I braise down some chitlins, smoke them off, onions, some fennel, all of that stuff. A pork belly, roll it, skin on pork belly, smoke it, and then I crisp up the skin and I slice it down and serve it on a sandwich.
Yeah,
I want that.
I just got real hungry. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
that's crazy because people always ask me what's my favorite thing to make, and they think I'm gonna say brisket, and I always say porchetta. I love making porchetta.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. If I never cook another brisket, I'm okay. But of course, I cook more brisket. Brisket always sells. Whenever I serve brisket, it sells out.
Man, T, we need to take her brisket class, brother.
Yeah, for real.
Wait, I have a brisket class? Hold on real quick. Let me.
It's brisket and biscuits in that class.
Brisket and
we will be there.
Yeah. I had it actually this past Sunday. I served brisket and biscuits. So.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have
we in the vein already.
Michelle, got a question for you. So we know you're from St. Louis, and I got a few questions from you. I was in St. Louis for a few years myself, and some great things come from there. Folks love the toasted ravioli, the gooey butter cake. And there's something about St. Louis Chinese food that just hits different.
Yep.
So my question to you is, from a food standpoint, what's your go-to food that you have to get when you go back home?
Oh, that's easy. It's typically two things. It's either a St. Paul sandwich or a snoot sandwich, if you're familiar with snoots.
Oh, yeah. So you want to explain? I'll tell you. Yeah. Explain to everybody who doesn't know the snoot sandwich.
A snoot sandwich is a pig snout. And it is, obviously it's cut and it's cleaned and it's good to eat. But in knowing what I know now, it's treated a lot like pig ears. Sometimes people will braise it down. I've had them so many different ways where it's kind of that gelatinous kind of feel. I've had it. I love it the way my dad would cook it, where it was kind of chewy in the center, but crispy on the outside. He'd do it on the grill from start to finish. And it was just so good, with some pickles and onions and a little bit of sauce, sometimes not. But yeah, it's really so good.
Pig snout.
Yeah, the
pig
snoots.
Snoot.
Do you eat?
I heard of it.
I heard of it. You have? Some people eat it soft and just kind of boiled or steamed in a flavorful liquid, and they'll eat it that way. Two pieces of white bread, a little bit of mustard. It's really good.
Yeah, my folks used to eat them steamed, but they would make sauce. So they would have snoots, ears, and feet, and they would make loaf after loaf of sauce. It was never my thing, but no shade. But now the St. Paul sandwich, if I'm not mistaken,
no shade.
The St. Paul sandwich, that's like an egg foo young on bread, right?
That's absolutely right, and it's so good. It's so good. It's an egg foo young patty. You can get whatever meat or protein you want in it. Typically, it's served with mayo, lettuce, tomato, pickle, and onion. I don't like the tomato or the lettuce. I usually just like the onion and the pickle. It's so good. And I've actually done versions of that with smoked meat in it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
But yeah, I think that a lot of what you'll see from me in my time at Gatlin's Barbecue, it really just kind of really educated me on how to utilize a smoker as either an ingredient or a vessel. And so you will see a lot of times I make this smoky strawberry jam. So I'm buying strawberries from a vendor next to me, from the stall next to me. I'll smoke it and turn it into a jelly. Or I did a smoked tomato and burrata sandwich before. And so you'll see smoke in just other ways than just simply the protein.
So we've been talking about a couple of transitions in your life that you made. Medical industry, you went into the restaurant business. And when people Google you, they will see that you're an actress, right? So you're on TV. Yeah, you've been on TV for a while. So my question is, how was that transition? What made you say, I'm that good? I'm going to be on TV and I'm going to be on these competitions and show them what I got.
I don't know if I'm that good ever came out of my mouth, but for me, I took it as a challenge to see how good I was. It wasn't like, I think I'm, all of that, and I know I'm going to dominate. I saw it as a challenge. Like, just like it's you full count at the plate and you like what you got, right? And so it's the same approach. It's I'm not a cocky chef. You know, in the chefing world, there is a lot of ego, a lot of cockiness. I've never been that. I've always shared what I know. I'm always asking questions, and I really try to just kind of be. Yes, I'm a leader, and I know I'm very comfortable in that role, but for me, I want to learn and I want to get out there, and I also want to be challenged. And so for me, these competitive shows have just simply been a challenge to see what Michelle can do and how far she can go and how creative can I be. And that's the fun thing about it, I feel like.
So I remember first seeing you on High on the Hog on Netflix, and then seeing you shortly after on Bobby Flay's BBQ Brawl.
Yes.
Now, how did that whole thing happen? The process of you getting on Bobby Flay?
They actually reached out to me. I'm not quite sure how they heard of me. I'm always like, y'all want me? Like, how did you even know about me? But they reached out. A casting director reached out and was like, we think you'd be great. We like what's on your social. And at the time I was like, I don't really even do much on social media, but okay. And we want you to, like just at least have a meeting. So I had one meeting, and then I was like, you got to have another meeting. Like, let's talk. Like, let's keep talking. And so it went through that process and did the application, and they really just kind of loved my personality. They liked how I spoke about food. They liked what I can do with food, especially in the barbecue world. And they was like, we think you'd be great on this show. Like, can you come on? And so I was like, yeah, I think so. And I was like, hey, Gatlins, I need a couple weeks off to go shoot this show. And so after conversation, they allowed me, and, it was all good. We had a lot of fun on the show, and, I didn't win. Like, I keep falling short with the winning, but like, I always feel like it's just such a great experience.
I mean, you do your thing. I'm just saying, it's no fault of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
Don't
you.
sell yourself short.
Thank you.
I'm still talking about them biscuits. Come on now.
I got you. Next time I come to Austin, I'm just gonna pack you some, and we just gonna have to,
you don't even have to pack now.
I'll
You
be
can
your
just
biscuit
come.
pusher.
You can
You can come right here to Barbecue Boulevard.
Yeah,
come on. We can make them right here.
We can do a biscuit class.
Let's do it.
And let me know so I can come.
Yeah, let's do it.
When it comes to competition shows, you were in Barbecue Brawl and Top Chef. Aside from the obvious, working with live fire and being in the kitchen, what were some other things that you probably would say is the biggest difference between the two that we may not notice as being viewers?
There is a lot of time that goes by. So we watch a 60-minute show, and for those 60 minutes, it can take 14, 16, 18 hours depending to shoot. And so you're when you're in that zone of cooking, especially in competition, it's a timed thing, sometimes that speed up to slow down to speed back up, you just don't want to get cold or get rusty, and you're trying to make this, you're trying to have your creativity still come to you. That time frame, that length of time to shoot 60 minutes is extremely long. But I think that's probably one of the large, like, I don't think I was telling my sister with Top Chef, like, one day would be so long, and she'd be like, really? Like, they just don't imagine that.
Yeah, I'm sitting here looking like, wow, I didn't think so. Of course, with Barbecue Brawl, you had like long cooks and things like that, but just hearing about Top Chef, the day being so long, it's just a real shock for me.
And Barbecue Brawl, it's not, the title is the title, but it's more high heat cooking on that show until you get to like the last show.
Yeah.
And so we're, it's barbecue loosely up until that point. But I love the show. Like, don't,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Michelle, I want to ask you this. You've been on all these different shows. You've been around all kinds of cooking talent and, and whatever, but have you ever been starstruck, when a certain chef or whoever, celebrity or whatever walks in?
Oh, yeah. I very rarely get starstruck. I used to work at Houston's restaurant, and a bunch of people would come into there, and, being around my cousin a little bit. But yeah, actually, people in this industry, I get more excited than seeing another athlete or an actor out, out in the world. I was recently, I was in Austin, as we were talking about earlier, and Mashama Bailey was there. And I met her once on her book tour, and I was just like enamored by her. Got a chance to take a picture. She signed the book, and I'm just like, oh my God, what a great experience, right? So I see her in Austin. So now, your girl done leveled up a little bit. I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna hit Mashama with some info, right? And she didn't remember me, but it's all good. Like it took a mutual friend for her to kind of say, hey, this is Chef Michelle, and like blah, blah, blah. She was like, okay. But she was so sweet, so nice. And like, I just remember the first time being just so like in awe of her, because, she's so skilled and talented that it's just amazing to see her doing her thing out in the world, and really kind of striving to possibly be or to achieve some of the things that she has.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Hey, so let me ask you this. So we had this whole discussion. We talked about sandwiches and, how you love sandwiches, and we're going to put the snoot sandwich to the side for a second.
Okay.
I want to know, I want to know two things. Aside from the snoot sandwich, what is your other favorite sandwich that you like to eat?
Okay.
And what is the most, I'm going to say technically difficult sandwich to make?
One of my most favorite sandwiches to eat is actually like a soft scrambled egg and cheese. And you can kind of plus that up as much or as little as you want. But for me, like an egg and cheese with some American cheese, like a little bit salty, because I like my eggs a little bit salty, and American cheese is good because for the extra creaminess, I can eat those all day. Literally can eat those all day. I think that every sandwich is technical. For me, when you're building a sandwich, you have to think about literally every component. Like, what is the bread going to provide? Is it going to be soft, or is it providing crunch? Where is the acid coming in? Are you going to pickle a vegetable, or is it going to come in a sauce? What protein are you using? So, depending on what you're doing and how you build it, it's really technical. Like every sandwich is technical. I mean, down from the peanut butter and jelly to, let's see, I think the porchetta is a technical sandwich, especially, is it stuffed? Is it not? Like, what temperature does it need to get? How do you get the skin? How do you cook it before the skin is before you mess up the skin, and then how do you crisp the skin without ruining the inside? Seafood is always, something you want to pay attention to, because you don't want to overcook. Like I did a smoked lobster roll, and you don't want to over smoke it, but you got to hold it. So for service, dip it in butter so it comes out right. I just think all sandwiches have this level of technicality that really needs to be paid attention to. And it's the building of a sandwich that truly matters.
And I think a lot of us don't really pay attention to that. There's, like you said, there's different breads for different sandwiches. What is it, the end outcome you're looking for? The bread has to play a role in that. And I know I'm one of those that I don't really like the hard, crunchy, rustic breads all the time. And so I don't want to use that. I'm going to use what I want to use. Yeah. And it's good to me, but it feels like it's missing something. And I guess it's probably because I'm throwing those rules out the window. I probably should be following. Yeah.
But especially if it's something like soft in the center. If you have something soft in the center, there has to be some contrast. Dishes are great because of contrast, whether it's a sandwich or not. And so where do you bring in contrast? If everything was just all soft, it feels weird, when you're tasting it.
Got to have some textures in there, whatnot. One thing that you had mentioned in there, so I kind of want you to take me to school here for a second, because you were talking about the acids and pickling and things of that nature. And I dabble around with making, my own pickles and pickled onions and things of that nature. But one of the things that I want to play around with, and I haven't really gotten into it just, yet, is pickling fruits, pickling pineapples and strawberries and things of that nature. So you're taking me, I'm this complete novice in the kitchen. How would you teach me how to pickle something like fruit?
a couple things. Of course, you always have to think about what you want to achieve. How acidic, how not. If do you want these to be on the sweeter side, spicy? So just considering what your final product, what you want out of that product in its final state. For me, for something basic, let's say you just want a middle of the road where you get some acid, but you still get some sweetness from the fruit that you're pickling. It's just a real basic pickling mixture. Some vinegar of some kind, maybe some fresh acid from lemon, lime, or orange. Any aromatics you might want to put in there. I typically always love onion, even in fruit. It just really kind of rounds out and balances the dish. If you're adding acid, like it's no longer necessarily a sweet dessert, right? And then some sweetness, whether it's honey, whether it's agave, whether it's sugar. At its simplest thing, that's just kind of what you need. And then give it time. It can be something that is a 12-hour quick pickle, or it's soaking for at least 24 hours and then a use. So, again, its final use is kind of what you're looking for. I've done a bunch of quick pickle fruit where it's only sat for several hours and it's still provided what it needs to. And so, yeah, I think you should just go for it. Play around with the level of vinegar, the sugar. And I very rarely pour the hot liquid over the fruit because I like my fruit to still have texture. But you can certainly, again, however you want to use it on the end is how you should kind of treat it through the process. If you want that whole fruit, you may want to get your pickling liquid together, let it chill down, and then pour over. Or if you kind of want to soften it up, then you might want to pour hot liquid over your fruit. The fruit is delicate. Just like when you're smoking, the difference between smoking lobster than smoking brisket, you treat that very, different.
So I think what I'm hearing from you is basically get out of my own way. Don't make it too technical. Just think of what it is. I always tell people when they're asking me about making briskets and whatever, I always tell people when you're outside cooking, it's just like when you're cooking in the kitchen. You're just using the heat source outside. So just have fun with it and cook.
That's it.
I'm guessing what I'm hearing from you is just think about what you want on the end. You want it sweet, you want it spicy, the different elements and components to add to it to do that. So just do it. Okay.
Just do it. Just get out of your way. And don't be afraid to mess up, either buy enough for at least 2 batches or, don't be afraid to mess up.
Okay, Michelle. So Top Chef season 21. So you get the call from casting and then you're pulling up in Wisconsin. What was your first thought being on set? What was that whole situation like going into this season here?
Like, holy shit. I'm sorry. Can I cuss?
Yeah, you're fine.
I wish I'd have known that. I'd have said a few cuss words throughout this process.
It's not too late. It's not too late.
You won't get them in.
My mom might watch, so she's going to be looking at me like, Michelle, what are you doing? No, but my first thought really was like, holy shit, like I'm here. And the first day, so there were a few days before we filmed the first episode. And so on the first episode, like we're driving on the way to the studio and, they have us holding, it's a lot happening. And we're walking and then we're pausing and then we're walking and then we're pausing. And it's just like, okay, you're anxious. You're looking at these 14 people that you don't know, wondering who they are, how much, what their skill set is and what their cooking level is. And in your head, it has to be good if they're here. So it just is, it's literally 1,000,001 thoughts at one time. And then you walk in, there's a bunch of cameras, Kristen is there. And it's just like, holy shit, let's go. It's like, let's go. It's game time.
So what was the thought in your head when you first saw Tom?
It's just like you're in awe. Like here they are. They've been here for 20 seasons. And it's just like, hey, Tom, like, I want you to notice me.
Right.
Please be nice to me. And all of the judges are so phenomenal. They really speak to you like they have been knowing you for a long time. And the critique and the criticism that they have to give us really does come from a place of just simply making you better. And so seeing them for the first time, it's just like, oh, they're here. And then after a few episodes, it's like, dang, it's almost like you want to impress like your mom and dad, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Now, when the show comes on, they show this beautiful scene of Wisconsin. I've never been there before. Does it really look like that?
Listen, let me tell you, everybody's all like, how did you enjoy Wisconsin? I'm going to say that I still ain't been to Wisconsin because
okay.
They haven't flocked.
That was going to be my follow-up question. Like, were you allowed to go out?
We, for, continuity, one of the reasons why this show is so amazing is that they really take the measures to have an atmosphere that is truly, truly genuine. Right. So the reactions and the conversations that you're seeing, they really create an environment where it is very much true. So the things that we're saying and how we're interacting, all of those are very much true, even from the judges on down, and part of creating this, Emmy award winning show is, sometimes they have to keep us secluded to try to get the truest reactions and content from us. And so, with that being said, literally the only parts of Wisconsin I saw was when we were driving in a car to either a studio or a restaurant or to the Whole Foods market.
Okay. What was your favorite part about the competition, being there, aside from the friendships that you made?
My favorite part really was coming into my own. My sister told me to apply for this show years ago. Over 10 years ago. I'm like, Michelle, like, you really can cook. Like, you can do this. And it's like one thing from hearing it from your family and your close friends, right? And It's always used to sidebar. I have a question about that, but would you pay for it? Like, is it good enough for you to pay for? That's been like the question I always ask. My sister's gonna laugh at this because I've said it a million times. Like, but what is good, but would you pay for it? And it's one of those things where it's just, I know we shouldn't look for validation somewhere else, but when you're in such an industry where others are doing this thing and they're able to sit here and tell you like, yo, you can freaking cook. It's just a level of validation that was just like, Michelle, like, duh, like you can fucking cook. Like, Let's go. And for me, this show was that. It was just very validating. It really pushed me to really define who I was. And I feel like before coming onto the show, I was struggling a little bit with that. I'd worked under the Gatlin family name for 6 years. Everybody knows me from there. You know what I mean? I didn't get this level of accolades and notoriety until then. And so when I left, I was like, okay, but now who is Michelle? And so for this allowed me to kind of define who I am a little bit more.
I love it. And the world got to see it.
The world got to see it. Stressed out.
So, Michelle, let me ask you this. So you're on the show. You got all your castmates, there with you. And obviously all of you guys want to win, but there can only be one winner. We know that. Was there any one castmate that got your culinary competitive juices flowing like, oh, I got to beat them?
Yeah. So me and Danny, like, and that didn't start from the beginning. After I kind of took my blinders off, because for like half the competition, I'm just like in my own lane, trying to survive the challenges. After the cooks, sometimes chefs would kind of walk around and see what everybody did. I was just like I didn't even care. But Danny, the chef from New York, he piqued my interest because he and I cook polar opposite. He's very refined and he's very, exact with his knife. His knife skills are impeccable. His palate is phenomenal. And here I'll go, plating etouffee and I'm doing all of these things. And I love this rustic thing. And I love these big, bold flavors. And I'm putting all that on the plate. And he and I just realized how just simply polar opposite we are. And then, both of us were kind of having success throughout the competition. And it was just like, all right, I need to, like, he is it. Like, he's the one. Like, I got to pay attention to what this guy is doing because he's operating like just insane. What I came to find out, sorry about that, is he thought the same of me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I could tell that. The chemistry on screen. You guys got along well together.
Yeah, we did.
Now, I want to ask you something about the challenges, because my wife and I watch the show religiously, and it inspires you to think about food in different ways than you probably did before. The plating, the execution, the way you put flavors together, and that time that you have to do things. And those are really complicated challenges that you go through. What was your mindset? How did you think of recipes on the fly? Because you won a few challenges.
I did.
Yeah, you killed.
I didn't even realize like I was doing that well. Like,
what was your thought process like on the fly? How was that?
It is. I mean, in a nutshell, that's the competition, right? It's like, here are the parameters. Now go and cook something amazing. And, I think Tom says it a couple of times throughout the show, is sometimes you don't get dishes that sometimes you'll see dishes that you would never expect. And the only reason why it was created was because of parameters of the challenge, the time, and all of the things, right? And that is the magic that this show captures every single time. It is very difficult. A lot of people at home, I love y'all. We love y'all watching this show, and all of the questions that you guys have are valid. However, in the situation when you have 30 minutes or 20 minutes to cook something amazing, there's no time to think. You have to be able to say, I see this, this is what I'm making. Like, there was one challenge with the cranberries and the beets. I had, from the time that they said go, I had a whole dish in my head. By the time I made it to the refrigerator, none of what I could get was there. I literally came up with that dish from the time I went to the refrigerator back to my table.
Wow.
And I was like, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? Like, you just have to really kind of compose yourself and say, take a breath, like think for a moment and then act. It's stressful.
I could tell. Wow.
He drank a lot during our breaks. We get finished and everybody's out of breath and they're like, holy crap. And they're like, can I get a beer or something?
Now, I'm glad you mentioned that, so the thing that I miss about this season, and I love Top Chef, just at the top of my heart, I wanted to see you guys more in the house. And man, I wish I saw more of that, because I want to see how you guys interact outside the kitchen more,
Sometimes it's edits too, because we had that lounge area where we would speak, or either in the stew room. And a lot of times those are the edits because we did a lot of filming in there. And so, they deem what's best for each episode. So it's unfortunate that some of those cuts won't make it, but we did share a lot of time in those moments where we're either talking about missing home, we're talking about how we hadn't had a good night's sleep, or how stressed we are. Like, we had some real conversations in there.
Everything has been such a whirlwind these last few months. But what's next?
What's next? That is a great question. I literally, at the end of filming this show, was like, one, I had to stop. Like, I just started Between Sandwich Company. Maybe have been in business 5 months or so before I went to go filming, 5-6 months, something like that. And for me, after I was done, it was just like, I got to get back to the markets. I got to get back to the pop-ups, doing pop-ups around the city. And it was really just kind of focused on that. Do I want to open a restaurant? What do I want to do? Like, I just came back working because I hadn't worked in months, and now I gotta make money. I also have a mortgage. And so that was my more immediate kind of response, but things have kind of leveled out and there's so many opportunities coming my way. I don't know, like what I thought I would want has evolved into many more things. Like, I want to, compile a cookbook over these, next couple of years. Maybe a restaurant. I'm so nervous about opening a restaurant because of the economy. There is no rush to do that. It's so many restaurants in Houston are opening, but two, the the level of where the economy is, how much product is costing, finding personnel, all the things, right, that it takes. I just, something in my gut is just like, it's just not right now, Michelle. But in the near future, I would love to kind of open something. Or if the right opportunity probably comes before then, I'm definitely open. You know what I mean? I would love to do more television. This is what I really kind of grown to figure out. I love being in this TV space. Maybe not solely in competition, but I love talking about food. Like, you're asking me what makes a great pickle or how to build a sandwich. What do we do? Like, I would love to exist somewhere in the world on television, talking about all things food. I really feel like I'm in such a unique lane. I feel like I towed the line of being this, this traditional French cuisine style chef that I learned under, and this barbecue pitmaster. And I don't know, and maybe you guys know more than I do. I don't know if anybody occupies that lane like I do. And so I really feel like I have this unique.
Just take it. Doesn't matter.
Take it and run with it.
I just feel like I have a unique voice. Women in barbecue typically are the wives to a husband. That's not been my story. And I have these unique, crazy ideas when it comes to food and smoke. And, I kind of want to get into it. I'm really building breakfast and barbecue. I love serving barbecue at breakfast time. And so that's a big hit for me, especially at the farmer's market. So yeah, the door is literally wide open, and I am thinking and dreaming larger than I ever have. And so some of those things are in the works, and you guys will see that soon.
Well, we're looking forward to it. And we know you're going to keep kicking in doors and taking those opportunities by the throat and doing the damn thing. We already know what you're going to do.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Well, you know what? We've been here an hour. It doesn't seem like it, but
no, it doesn't. Oh my
no. So we definitely have to have you back on, but we're going to get ready to wrap up. But tell everybody where they can find you, how to find you, and anything else you want to highlight.
So you guys, stay tapped in with me. I am Between the Slices on IG, Michelle Wallace on Facebook. You can always find me at Rice Village Farmers Market. It's the first and third Sunday of the month. I will always be there unless something catastrophic happens. But first and third Sundays of the month, and then other special events around the city. I have a travel event coming up that you can purchase tickets to. So be on the lookout for that. And then some other special events around the city of Houston and beyond as well. I'll be in Birmingham, Alabama in September. I'll be at Southern Smoke in October. So just a few other larger events to name a few.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to seeing you in all of those places. Absolutely. So we're going to go around, y'all, and get everybody on the panel so y'all can find us and, check all of our stuff out. T from T-Dub Barbecue, tell them where they can find you, brother.
You can find me at tdub.bbq on Instagram, Facebook, not Twitter.
How about the Threads?
The Threads. I'm never over there, but I do have an account. TikTok and YouTube.
Good stuff. Charlie, lay it on them, brother.
You can find me everywhere under the name Charlie Maverick. And you can also find me part-time because I share the wealth of being in the Black Smoke Barbecue podcast comments on YouTube.
I have to say that comment section is jumping. It's getting harder and harder. I've been trying to help you, man. People are really starting to dig that stuff, man. And we do appreciate all of y'all's comments and everyone's feedback.
Stay lit. I love it.
It does. And we have Alton from the Dogfather's Barbecue. Al, tell them where they can find you, brother.
Yes, sir. Hey, before I do that, Michelle, thank you again for coming and hanging out with us and chopping it up. This was an absolute blast for me. This is just a continuation of what we did in Houston.
Absolutely.
And can't wait to have you back on the show. But yeah, everybody can find me at the Dogfather's Barbecue. That's DAWGFATHAS BBQ. Can find me on all the socials except for X. I'm not on X, but I'm everywhere else. So come get at me.
My man. And then we have our fearless leader,
Geoff Boyd from Outdoors with Geoff. Geoff, tell the good folks where they can find you.
You can find me at Outdoors with Geoff. That's Geoff on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and you can find old Geoff on blackplanet.com. Yeah, I'm bringing it back.
All right.
Hey, listen,
let's go.
Let's go. I need everybody to sign up.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's
Try
go.
to do this HTML again.
We're reaching new audiences. Everybody go back 20 years, but seriously,
You're not reaching no audience. That's hilarious, but
My man.
dating yourself, bro.
Hey, that's the only person he's gonna be dating on Black Planet is himself.
Oh man.
You can find me and my luxurious mane everywhere, except for X. So don't do that tweeting thing. But everywhere else, you can find me at BKC Cooks. And did I forgot to mention I got a hair care line coming out, y'all. I forgot to tell y'all about luxurious mane hair care products coming to a shelf near you very, very soon.
Wait to get mine.
Brother, I got some scalp balm. I got it. I got everything, bro. Trust me.
He got you covered.
I got you covered, man.
Oh man.
Well, that's gonna do it for us, y'all. Again, we do thank our wonderful guest Michelle for coming on with us, and we do hope to have you back on again someday. And
Thank you
y'all,
so much, guys. Thank you.
thank you for hanging with us. And y'all also check us out on make sure you subscribe to the Black Smoke Barbecue YouTube channel, Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're everywhere. But if you're watching and listening, subscribe so you get all the content, get all the notifications, because we're doing some big things. We got great folks and big names like Michelle, and you don't want to miss out on all the great things we got coming down the pipe. So again, y'all, this is the Black Smoke Barbecue Podcast. We're out, and we will catch y'all on the next one.